What's up guys, Gray here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be going over the top 5 changes that are coming to Destiny 2 with the December 7th update, otherwise known as the 30th anniversary update. This has been sort of a mid-season DLC drop that's been planned due to the delay of the Witch Queen, and there's a ton of stuff packed into this update, and it's coming out just next week at Reset. There's a lot to unpack here, so I wanted to go over sort of the 5 biggest things that, at least for me, are coming with this new update. So with that being said, let's dive right into it. If you guys enjoyed the video, do me a favor, leave a like down below and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss my future videos. And let's get started with item number 1. So number 1 on the list is going to be pretty big. Bungie stated that with this patch, they wanted to get rid of almost all one-shot abilities in the Crucible. So this includes the biggest one, no more Shatter Dive. Shatter Dive will no longer one-shot you in almost all circumstances. They say there is a rare situation if you're running every possible stasis fragment where you might die occasionally to it, but it will not just freebie one-shot you anymore. Stasis crystals got changed to not freeze you anymore, and some really big quality of life changes regarding stasis. But as well as that, things like handheld supernova are gone, shoulder charge on Titans are gone, no more cheesy one-shot abilities inside of the Crucible. Now, hunters will keep their weighted knife, but it's a skill shot. You gotta hit that headshot with the knife on bottom tree to get that kill. And I can already hear the other class mains getting mad about it, especially when I tell you this, because hunters will also have the new and reworked flux grenade on arc subclasses. If you stick someone, that is going to be a one shot as well. But what ties into the next point is that it's going to be a really long cooldown. So there will be a trade-off for something like that. So along that same vein, let's move on to item number 2, and that's going to be the variable cooldown system that is coming to Destiny 2. This is another big fundamental change for some of the systems of the game. And what Bungie has done here is that they've made it so that different abilities, different grenades and melees will have different cooldowns based on their efficacy. So for example, just like we were talking about, that flux grenade on hunters, that's going to have a pretty long cooldown, whereas something like a firebolt grenade on Warlock or an arc bolt grenade, that's going to have a really short cooldown. So all these abilities are being changed and reworked to have different cooldowns based on how strong they are, which could open up some really interesting builds for certain things. Even if you have a weak grenade, but you can get it back every 20 seconds, that's going to be pretty strong. I mean, really, there's going to be some cool builds behind different stuff like that. So I'm really excited about that. On that same note, this also applies to different supers in the game. They've sort of broken all the supers up into different tiers that are going to have different cooldowns based on their strength. So the fastest one I think is actually going to be Well of Radiance. Can't remember all of them exactly. I'll find the screenshot of it and post it here in the video so you can see it. But this will affect different supers and have different cooldowns there. And it also ties into a big change to the intellect stat. What they did is they tried to make intellect less of a passive bonus and more of an active bonus. They're saying you're still going to get some passive regen there, but you will get more super energy by using your primary weapon. When you deal damage with your primary or you take damage, that's going to be where most of your super energy comes from moving forward. So those are some pretty big changes to some of the cooldowns and abilities coming to the game, but there's a ton of other things coming in this update as well. And number 3 on the list is, of course, going to be the new dungeon. This dungeon is going to be a fully flushed out new dungeon that is coming to the game. Now, I know it's supposed to pay a bit of an homage to the loot cave from D1. I think it's like the entrance to the dungeon is in the loot cave in the Cosmodrome, so there might be some cool little nods there, but from what I understand, it is a completely new dungeon. There'll be new encounters, multiple encounters, and of course, along with that comes things like solo and solo flawless will be really fun to do. Bungie always makes incredible dungeon content, so I'm really excited to dive into this. And along with that, of course, there's going to be some new loot. There's an entire new set of armor that looks so badass, and some new weapons as well. And I'm hoping and praying for a thorn catalyst in here because the armor is thorn themed. That's literally the theme they went with. So I'm like, can we please get that thorn catalyst, man? That would be incredible. And of course, the dungeon is sort of based on Xur's backstory. It's supposed to dive into how he became Xur and how everything led up to him getting involved with the Nine. So it should be some cool story beats there and some really interesting stuff. The art style of the dungeon will also be pretty cool, reflecting that. So that's going to be really fun to dive into. Now, number 4, just like I mentioned with the new dungeon, we have a bunch of returning weapons and new loot to chase. There's some really incredible, iconic weapons coming back from Destiny 1, and I know a lot of people will scream recycled content, but really, I'm pretty excited for a lot of these. We're getting the Ias Luna hand cannon, which was absolutely iconic back in D1 PvP. We're getting the Matador shotgun, the 1,000-yard stare. All of these weapons were so iconic back in Destiny 1. It's going to be really fun to get our hands on them in Destiny 2. There's also been a lot of rumors about some Halo weapons making their way into the game. I've seen a lot of different rumors on this. There are some screenshots where you can see the Guardians with some of these Halo-looking weapons on their back, and it could be unique weapons that they're adding, but I'm also leaning more to the sides of them just being ornaments for certain weapons. There's one that looks like the battle rifle. I could see that being an ornament for like the messenger or something like that, which would be pretty cool. I would honestly still love to see that. And of course, to top it all off, we are getting Gallarhorn back in the game. The absolutely iconic exotic rocket launcher from Destiny 1 will be making its way into Destiny 2. Hopefully it's still as strong. I can't wait to get my hands on it. That'll be really fun as well. So definitely some exciting stuff with the dungeon and some new loot. Now, number 5 on this list is something that I personally am just geeking out about. And I actually made a separate video on this going a little more in depth with it. I'll try to sum it up here. But Bungie recently made it so that they're giving increased integration to third-party apps. And now I know that sounds like a lot of weird words, but if you use things like DIM, Destiny Item Manager, Little Lights, all those different types of apps that can control, let you swap gear and weapons around, that's always been super convenient. Of course, Destiny Item Manager is essential if you're playing this game. But now Bungie will allow all of these apps to have access to all of the sockets on your gear. What that means is that now these third-party apps will be able to swap out mods, swap out weapon perks, and change everything on your gear without you having to do anything manually. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, yeah, you can save loadouts already. You can, but it really only saves the armor pieces. If you swap over, it can't change the mods for you, and you still have to go through and put all that stuff in yourself, and it's a pain. Now you'll be able to literally just save a loadout to DIM. So you put on all your PvP gear, you're all decked out and spec'd in for PvP. You can save that in DIM as a loadout. And then when you go to do the raid or doing Grand Masters and you swap all your gear and mods, you save that loadout. And then from then on, you can just press a button and all of your gear, mods, shaders, weapon perks will all be swapped instantly. It's going to be incredible, and it's really huge for someone like me. I'm always going back and forth between PvP and PvE and trying out new builds. And honestly, some of the build videos, I have to go back and rewatch my own videos to remember how I put a build together because there's always so many moving pieces. And this is just going to make it so easy to just save it and come back to it whenever you want. So I'm really excited about that. I think it's going to change the way everyone plays Destiny a lot. But that's going to be my top 5 changes coming in the December 7th update. Let me know if there's something that I glossed over that you're excited to see, that you're looking forward to on reset. There is, of course, the new 6-man activity. I think we'll have some loot, so that'll be really cool as well, but didn't quite make the cut on the list here. But let's have a talk about it. Leave a comment down below, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like for me. Consider smashing that subscribe button, and I will see you next week with all of the new content. Thanks for stopping by. Take care.